The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink Community TV, its sponsors, or partners.
Hello everybody, I'm Chris, my friends call me RT, and this is RT Cooks It. Today we're butchering a moose. Very exciting day for me. Possibly my favorite part of moose hunting. We get to go hunting, we get to go butchering, and then of course we get to eat it. But I think the butchering is the most fun. Don't go too far, we'll be right back to it. Welcome back. We have the moose hanging. This is the hind quarter of my wife's first moose. Exciting year, exciting year. We were out in the woods. We spent maybe about 20 days on and off in the woods, hiking 5 to 7 kilometers a day. And the funniest part of moose hunting is on the day we actually got the animal. He was about 5 minutes away from the where we parked, and it turned out great. It took us about 7 hours to get him out of the woods. We had to get an Argo, go in, spend 7 hours getting the moose and getting him out. So this moose has been hanging 21 days, and this is my personal preference. This is how I like to treat moose if possible. We have a 3-door drink cooler like you see in gas stations that we've purchased, and we hang our moose in that. And what happens is the moose ages, and the lactic acids in the moose, it's no longer able to get any of the blood that's flowing where it gets its protein from. It changes over and it starts to actually break down the connective tissues in the meat. And what that does is tenderize the meat. So if you can get 21 days at between 1 and 3 degrees Celsius, and it'll tenderize the moose. A lot of the moisture in the moose will dehydrate or will evaporate from the moose, and it'll lose about 10% of its weight. So it does a couple things. It tenderizes the moose, and 2, it actually milds that wild or browsy or the flavor that is a little harsh sometimes in moose, and it creates a skin, and it's a hard outer skin. And all I've done is I just simply took my knife and took a fillet knife and skinned it down. And now we're going to go ahead and break it down. There's 2 knives I like to use. I use a filleting knife and a boning knife. There's lots of knives you can use. There's no right knife, no wrong knife. It's what you like to use. So I take the filleting knife. So like I said, we have a hind quarter. Right here is the sirloin. On the back side we have inside and outside round and an eye round. And to get the sirloin off, there's a bone runs down the middle. This is the sirloin here. So we can see down here there's a little bit of a cut, so we just cut in there until we hit that bone. And we come up here, this is the knee, we'll call it. You come up and you get in behind that knee, just keep feeling your way, and you go all the way into, now I'm on the bone. So the next thing we need to do is just cut right down that bone, straight down, and we're gonna get that sirloin. There's that sirloin. We're going to get that sirloin right off. And that's the sirloin tip, sirloin cap, and there's a bit of a tri-tip in there. The next part we're going to go ahead and get at is the 2 rounds. And to get at these rounds, you have to get in and sort of just get along this leg bone and just get in here and try and cut it all the way down. You can feel the bone in there, and you keep going until you think you're to the back of the bone. And there's no perfect way to do this, because like my cooking style, my butchering style is a little bit however I feel it needs to go. And I'm going to just go ahead and cut right around now, and I cut all the way around and just line up to the top of that bone, all the way across, all the way around. So now we're going to let gravity do all the work for us. I'll grab that boning knife again. We'll make sure we have this, and you can see it's just going to fall right off. And there is a big slab. This is the rounds. Like, this is a monster piece of moose. Now, of course, be careful. Take your time. Don't Don't rush it. And don't worry about it being exactly perfect. This is, you're butchering your own moose, you're doing it exactly perfect right there. Woo! Almost lost that piece. Should have had my arm under it. So we have those rounds, we have that sirloin, all of this on here, all this calf meat, all this parts here and all the parts down here, I'll clean up later. I'll set this off to the side. And we're gonna go ahead and get right into that sirloin, and we're gonna get into that those 2 rounds here when we come back.
At Hickman Automotive Group, we believe that family drives everything. Whether you're heading out on a family road trip or just running errands around town, we have quality vehicles you can rely on from any of our 9 dealerships across Newfoundland and Labrador.
For Belfour, it's not just restoration. It's your home. Belfour, restoring more than property.
Welcome back to RT Cooks It, and today it's RT Butchers It. Now, I'm not a professional butcher by any means, nor am I a professional chef. This is all just things I love to do, and this is all part of the great adventure of hunting, as far as I'm concerned, is butchering your own meat. We have that the big slab of rounds, and you're going to see that we're going to be able to just separate out these various bits of meat. So you can see right here there's a seam, and the seam just you just follow the natural flow of the muscles, and you can see it all. You can almost get your fingers in there and pull it apart. And we'll separate out this piece. So there we have one big round. Next to that is the eye around. This one I'm familiar with. I like this cut. So we'll get in and we'll get this eye around trimmed out. And again, follow the natural curve of the meat. Actually, we better get rid of this gland. There's a little gland in here that we don't want getting mixed in. So get your fingers in, break it up, break it apart, break it down. And this is the eye around, and then we have the outside round. So here we go. That's an eye around. That's an outside round, I believe, the inside round. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to clean each of these up and just take our time and get this bit of film off. You can cut it all off, and then this goes into a pile that we're going to use for trimming. And I like to take all this bits of sinew, you can see it here at the end. We'll just trim this and get this cleaned up. This is the eye around, and what I'm going to do with this eye around is I'm going to slice this into steaks. I'm going to put this into sous vide for about 24 hours, somewhere close to 130, and put it in the sous vide for 24 hours, and then I'm going to put it in the freezer. And anytime I want to go ahead and eat this eye around, it's going to be tender and it's going to be delicious steaks. So here's some great steaks. There's the eye around, taken care of, no time at all. Just dig right in, jump right in, and give it a try. Like, don't be afraid to butcher your own moose. Be adventurous, give it a shot. You know, look at all this down here. All we got to do is we just hold and sort of slice this off. It's not, you know, it's not, it doesn't have to be perfect because you're doing it for yourself. It has to be something that you're comfortable putting in a pot, putting in a frying pan, and eating. And if you can get it to that, if you can get this to a point where you're happy to eat it, and you're happy to cook it, look at how much you accomplished. First thing you did, you went in the woods and you shot a moose. Then you were in the moose and you quartered it up and brought it home. Now you're at home and you're trimming your moose. So here's that sinew. We just take all that off with the filleting knife, all the way across, all the way down. This is all going to get trimmed. Don't worry about any meat left on that. It's going to get trimmed off. I'll just give you a quick preview of how we do that, because a lot of this I'm going to do afterwards, because it does take a long time. So you just lay this flat, take your knife, just like you're filleting a fish, all the way down. There you go. You can see I missed a little bit there, but that's okay. So you can see you have this beautiful cut of meat, and you have almost nothing left to dispose of. We'll set all this aside. This here is our outside round. We're going to go ahead and separate this out again. Cut all the way through. Set that over for tidying up and cleaning up and turning into ground. Take the top of this off. All this is going to get saved. None of this is going anywhere. It's just getting set aside to clean up and get trimmings for grinding. We're going to make sausage. We're going to make ground moose. We're going to make some fast fry. I'm working a lot faster than I normally would just because I want to make sure you get to see this process as fully as possible. So here we have some more. We'll take this top layer off, and you can see it's like it's separate. So we'll just take that off. And what we're going to end up with is a beautiful round roast, perfect for the slow cooker. And here's that roast. Still a little more trimming can happen. Take all this off. A bit of sinew, bit of gristle. That's really chewy. That's not pleasant to eat. So here we have a beautiful round roast. Now, how big's your family? That's how big you cut it. If you think you want the whole thing for the slow cooker and have leftovers, put the whole thing in the slow cooker. Cut it in half if you want to put it in half. Cut it into stewing meat. Here, I'll show you. Just cut it into 1-inch chunks. Lay it down. There you go. Stew meat ready to go. Put that in a bag, whatever size you think you want for stew meat. We'll move right over to this sirloin. This is a beautiful roast. This is, listen, I keep saying everything's my favorite. I love everything about the moose. Every part's my favorite part of the moose, so I'm going to keep saying this is my favorite, this is my favorite. But anyway, this is the sirloin. The thing I like about the sirloin is this makes a beautiful roast. This is another one that I put into the sous vide, and I make moose dip sandwiches, you know, French dip sandwiches you've heard of or had before. I make a moose dip. I take this, I cook it to medium rare in the sous vide, another 24, 36 hours, and then I take and shave it. I cool it off, and then I go ahead and I shave it and make nice thin slices, dip that in a nice jus, and it's now a moose dip sandwich, and it's absolutely one of my favorite things to have off of the moose. So I have a couple bins going. I have one bin going over here. This is all the stuff that I'm going to trim and clean up, and I'll get at this, and I'll get it all cleaned up. We're going to turn that into sausage. We're going to turn that into ground. And everything over here is getting ready. I'm going to just give my hands a quick wash. You are working with a lot of raw meat here, and you want to just keep cleaning, just keep washing, keep wiping. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen is you're going to get to the end of the whole moose cutting process, and you're going to have to put a bunch of hand cream on because you've washed your hands so many times. No big deal. So with this particular roast, I like to tie it. And when I tie it, it holds everything together, and it helps it cook more evenly. I mean, we're putting it in a sous vide, so that part isn't as important, but it helps hold it all together. So I have a box with a hole in the top and butcher twine. This is how I manage my string. It works very well. I put it on the floor below, and then I just come in, put that rope across, and I use what I call a butcher's knot. And I don't know if it's an actual butcher's knot, but I'm going to do a couple, and then I'll try and see if I can show you. Oh, of course you break it every once in a while. So I'm going to try and show you what I use for a knot. And I'm pretty sure it's called a butcher's knot. And what happens is the knot actually rolls over on itself and locks it in place. And then you can just tie it off. And I never really searched Google to see if this is what an actual butcher's knot is, but I like to tie this, give it all a nice taut, get it all stiffened up and ready to be cooked. And the way I usually start is I say to myself, okay, I'm going to want to cut this roast right here, and I want to cut this roast over here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a string over on that side, and I'm giving myself sort of a target to go between the two strings, and then I'll tie more strings in between those little target spots. I don't think I can say it enough as to, be adventurous and go ahead and process that moose. We'll get that last string tied, and I'm going to try and give you a view of what I'm doing. So it's your two fingers loop the string around, the tail end goes under the lead string. Now this might not work out because I was a little too careful, but then you just pull it, and you can feel it snap. You can actually feel the knot roll over on itself, and then I put one as a, just to be sure it's going to work. We'll set that string aside. We're finished with the string now. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this roast up a little bit. These pieces will all go in that bin. All that has to be trimmed up. And what we're going to do with all these trimmings, there's that sirloin. Oh, right. And I am going to cut this one just in half because I think what it is it's going to be two party roasts, I'll call it. There's two roasts. That way I can do up a roast for when we get a group of friends together. The sirloin is done and tied. We have the eye around, and we turn that into steaks. I took that inside round and turned it into some nice stew meat. And this is what I've done for my ground. So when I'm going to do ground, if I have a piece that is big enough to keep the length out of it, I just take it, cut it in nice long pieces, and you can feed that right into the grinder. The grinder will almost feed itself when you're doing it. We're going to go ahead, get all this tidied up, get all this put away, and we're going to make a lovely backstrap sandwich. Stay tuned.
At Hickman Automotive Group, we believe that family drives everything. Whether you're heading out on a family road trip or just running errands around town, we have quality vehicles you can rely on from any of our 9 dealerships across Newfoundland and Labrador.
For Belfour, it's not just restoration. It's your home. Belfour, restoring more than property.
Welcome back. We spent a lot of time at the moose, and now we're going to enjoy it. We're going to have a shaved moose, bit of peppers, bit of onions. We're going to fry all this off and have a nice sandwich. I don't know if there's an easy way to calculate the worth of this, because I think there's commercials out there that used to say it's priceless. Everything else, this is definitely priceless. Having the opportunity to go in the woods, shoot your moose, take that moose, put it in an Argo, bring it out. I mean, so the moose hunting, let's call that 30 hours. And then, sorry, what I'm doing here is I got a little bit of peppers and onions. I'm going to fry this off first, and I like to get the peppers and onions to with still a little bit of crunch in them. Then I'll do the meat separately and put it all together in a sandwich. I have nothing in here yet. I'm going to put a little bit of this Who's Your Sister sauce. Shake that around, give it a little bit of, just enhance the flavor. I don't want to take away from the moose too much. A little bit of salt and pepper in there, and give that a little spin. But I don't know if you can put a price tag, like was trying to say, on this experience of moose hunting, because you go out in the woods, you spend time out in nature. That is a wonderful, wonderful time. And then you're fortunate enough to shoot a moose. Now we spent a full day getting the moose out. We were using an Argo, borrowed an Argo from a friend of mine. My wife decided she needed to shoot the moose on the other side of a river, so we had to get an Argo to go ahead and get the moose. Bring it back here. It's been hanging for 21 days. I took the ribs and the brisket and the chest plate. I put that in the sous vide. I sous vide that for about 36 hours. Broke all that down. I have a bunch of pulled moose already frozen from that. I have the ribs frozen up. this is coming together nicely. We only want to just get the, we want to leave some crunch in this. That's why I have the onions and the peppers in at the same time. It's the way I enjoy the flavor and the taste. And we'll just let that simmer away. So then, I forget where I left off, but we had the mousse. We let the mousse hang for 21 days. I'm going to toast the buns a little bit. Let that mousse hang for 21 days. Cared for it, took care of it. I had to wash it down in a little mild water and vinegar halfway through just because the humidity had gone up quite a bit, so I countered that with some fans and just take care of it. And now I've spent the last 3 days or so butchering the mousse, and I still have to go ahead and grind it up and make sausage, but I love every minute of it, every single minute of it. Keep this going. Keep spinning that around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these vegetables out and put them in a bowl. And then I'll put the mousse backstrap, which is here. This is the mousse backstrap. This I took this out yesterday, actually, and set it aside. And a lot of it's going into the freezer, but I left some out so I can make some sandwiches. I like to try and eat mousse the whole way through. And one of the big things I do is I just keep sampling the mousse as I cut it. So if I cut an eye around, I'll shave off a little piece and I'll have a taste and see how tender it is, make sure the flavor's still really good. And then I know how the mousse is going to turn out. We'll call these vegetables done. They look done to me. They look like they got the right amount of crunch to them. We'll get all this out. I'll turn those buns over. I'm going to just crank up the heat. And we're going to give this pan a minute to get up to temperature, and then we'll get that mousse in. The mousse is going to be fast. It's thin, and it's going to cook very fast, and it's going to be pretty high heat, and you'll probably see a lot of smoke on the go, but I'm not worried about it. It's exactly how I like to cook the bit of mousse. Flip them buns over. This is an old camp toaster. This is an old camp stove. This is the camp stove I grew up with. We camped right across the whole, all of Canada with my father when we were young. That was our summer vacation. This is the camp stove I had breakfast on every single day. A lot of memories. I'm going to get this cranked up, and we're going to get this smoking. It's going to be smoking. Yeah, the pan's smoking now. So what I do is, here the pan's red hot. I put a little bit of oil in, spread it around a little, and then we'll just take these pieces and lay them in. You don't want to crowd the pan. You want to give this meat as much room as possible. So when it's cooking, and I'm going to run out of room before I run out of meat here, and I'm okay with that because I don't want the pieces to overlap too much. If they touch a bit, that's okay. There we go, nice hard sear. The bread's ready. We'll take the toast off. All I'm going to do with the toast is spread a little bit of mayo on it, on both sides, just a little bit of extra flavor. And like I said, I don't want to cover up the flavor of that mousse too much. I really like the flavor of the mousse to come through and kind of keep it as mild as possible. So there we go with a little bit of mayonnaise. Mousse is frying perfectly. I'm going to give that a flip. It's ready to go. Oh yes, look at this. This looks absolutely perfect. It is cooked just how I want. The frying pan, I don't think the burner can go any higher. I have it about as high as it'll go. We'll give this a minute, then we're going to stack that up on top of these buns. I got a few more pieces here. I'll make another sandwich once we get through all of this. And those cast iron frying pans, you can't beat them, right? Like a cast iron frying pan will last you a lifetime. It won't actually only last you a lifetime. It'll last your family a lifetime. It can be handed down generation to generation as long as you take care of them. Here we go. We're ready. We'll take all that mousse off, get this laid on this bun here. I think I got more than the fit on the bun, so I'll stop once I think I have enough. Hanging off is okay. We'll get that one more piece on there. These two pieces I'll set aside. Get that burner turned off. So now we have this mousse. is it ever juicy. I'm getting another piece on there. It's gonna fit. I'm gonna make it fit. We'll take some of these onions and peppers, put those right on top. It's a bit of a monster of a sandwich, but that's okay. We'll get that top in here. We're just gonna squat this down, and I'm gonna give this a second to rest. Just back, I'm gonna grab some paper towel, give my hands a little wipe. Just back to those cast iron frying pans, you know, there's a lot of, people say a lot of different things, and I've always used soap and water on my cast iron frying pans. I've never had any problems. I've had to re-season them from time to time, but that's more about putting them away wet than it is the actual care. So the sandwich has, I kind of want to give that sandwich a minute to settle down, and I think we're good now. I'm going to go ahead and cut this sandwich because I think it's going to be hard to eat any other way. We'll get into this. Oh, little piece of onion on top. So here is our here's our moose sandwich. This is going to be good. All that care, all that attention that we took, all that time we took to take care of this moose pays off right there. It is an absolute labor of love. Be sure to catch me on all your favorite social medias and come back soon for some more cooking adventures right here on Eastlink TV.